Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about what it actually means to close the loop with all the stuff we make and use. We all think we know what recycling is, right? But there's this whole other level of design and innovation that completely changes the game. So let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with a question you've probably wondered about. You carefully sort your plastics, your paper, you put it all in the bin, and then what? What really happens to that plastic bottle? Do you think it's just going to magically become a brand new plastic bottle? Well, the truth is, most of the time, the answer is a hard no.
And it all comes down to this really important difference. See, what most of us call recycling is actually downcycling. Every time you recycle that plastic, the quality gets a little bit worse. So plastic bottles don't become new bottles. They get turned into things like carpet fiber or fleece jackets, which you can't really recycle again. It's basically a downward spiral. What we want is upcycling, the pure circle, where material keeps its quality and can be used for the exact same purpose again and again. And getting to that pure circle, that's the entire goal of closing the resource loop. It's the absolute core mission of a circular economy. We've got to stop this one-way street from the factory straight to the landfill and build a system where waste just doesn't exist.
But here's the thing, and this is the most important part. Closing these loops isn't about getting better at sorting our trash at the end. It's a strategy that has to start at the very, very beginning, right on the drawing board, in the design phase. So how in the world do we actually do that?
Well, the absolute gold standard, the ideal path, is through upcycling. This is where materials can truly have a second, third, or even 10th life without ever losing their value or their quality. The folks who pioneered the cradle-to-cradle idea have this great way of putting it. They talk about returning a material to the industrial metabolism. Just like in nature, where one organism's waste is another's food. Old products should become the raw material for new products of the exact same quality.
And the secret ingredient here? Creating uncontaminated material streams. In other words, purity is absolutely everything. When you keep materials from getting mixed with gunk or lower-grade stuff, they hold on to their quality, and that makes the whole system way more efficient and valuable.
Okay, theory is one thing, but what does this look like in the real world? Let me show you a fantastic example. It's a carpet company called Desso, and they've totally re-engineered their entire business around true upcycling.
So check this out. First, they have a take-back program to collect old carpets from their customers. Pretty cool. Then, and this is the clever part, they have a unique process that cleanly separates the yarn from the backing. That old yarn is then used to create brand new, top-quality yarn for new carpets. It's a perfect closed loop, feeding right back into their own system. But okay, a carpet is one thing. What about something way more complex? A product with dozens of different materials all fused together. Well, that's where we have to get really creative, and it brings us back to one idea: smarter design.
Just think about your phone for a second, or your kitchen toaster. They're incredible pieces of engineering, but for a recycler, they are an absolute nightmare. They are packed with so many different materials: plastics, metals, glass, all glued, screwed, and welded together. Taking them apart cleanly is almost impossible.
So here's the big mind shift. The answer isn't just about building fancier sorting machines. The real innovation, the game changer, is to design products from day one with the end of their life already in mind. They have to be designed for disassembly.
So let's stick with that toaster example. How on earth do you design a toaster that actually wants to be taken apart? A product that can practically disassemble itself, falling into neat piles of pure materials.
The answer is this absolutely brilliant idea called design for active disassembly. It's where you engineer a product with these clever little mechanisms, like special connectors, that just let go when you expose them to a specific trigger, like a change in temperature or pressure. So a prototype called the Realist Toaster shows us exactly how this could work. It's held together with these special snap-fit connectors, and each little connector is attached to a tiny ball. This isn't just a regular toaster. It's a toaster designed to do a kind of magic trick at the end of its life. And here it is, the aha moment. You take the old toaster, you stick it in a vacuum chamber. As the machine sucks the air out, the pressure drops, and those little balls attached to the connectors, they expand. And pop! The expanding balls force the snaps to release, and the entire toaster just falls apart. You get clean piles of separate materials, plastic over here, metal over there. No shredding, no smashing, just pure high-quality stuff ready to be upcycled. How cool is that?
So whether we're talking about a carpet that can be reborn as a new carpet or a toaster that literally pops itself apart, the final takeaway is exactly the same. The most important, most critical work happens way before that product ever gets into your hands.
80%! The European Union figures that up to 80% of a product's total environmental impact is locked in during its design phase. That means the choices that designers and engineers make about what materials to use, how to connect them, how they'll come apart, that has a much bigger impact than almost anything we do later on.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. What would our world look like if every single thing around you was designed to come apart just as easily as it was put together? What if everything was designed for its next life, right from its very first moment of creation? Thanks for tuning in.